Oh, Halo. It's time for me to do a little bit of catch up on some Mega Construx Halo figures. So I'm going back to the Clash on the Ring series, the ones that came in the blind bags that looked like this. I actually got this series when it first came out. There were 2 whole cases put out on the shelf at my nearest Target store, and there were cases at other Target stores within my general region as well. I was able to get all of them except for this. Thanks to scalpers who went through and just picked these out, I was not able to get this in person. Ended up having to order it off eBay. Thank you very much, scalpers, for ruining that for me. But here we are, getting caught up. I'm also going to do this, which is the double pack with the Master Chief and the Arbiter. All right, so I'm going to start off with this generic Mark V Spartan in green, but not like a sweet Halo green, not a military green, bright lime green that just screams at you. Well, I think that's fine. You know, getting different colors out there is good on a relatively generic style of character. It just has the OD green colored rocket launcher there. And, you know, otherwise it's pretty straightforward. You know, there are no prints other than just the visor, and it doesn't have the greatest definition around the base of it. Could have been printed just a little bit lower, you know, but at least it is opaque enough. So that one's pretty straightforward, and I think it's okay to move on to the next, especially since this is the next. It's another solid colored Mark V Spartan, another just generic regular character with, again, no special print. It's just the visor done a little bit better on this one. And he's got the Magnum, and that's it. Both of these characters, the lime green one and this school bus yellow one, are common in this series. And, well, I mean, coming up, we've got the ability to change colors on different parts. You know, in Infinite, it looks like we're going to be able to change colors on different parts of our custom Spartans. So just putting out compatible parts from the same armor, you know, variation in different colors makes sense. I have to ask the question, though, does it make 3 figures in the same series worth of sense? So as you can see, this is the same thing again. Solid color, just silver, and he's got the shotgun. No special print, but this figure is a rare one in this series. It's completely arbitrary, but you know, the difference between common and rarity is not tremendous from what I've seen. Varies a little bit, but you know, these aren't particularly hard to get or anything, so I see no real problem with that. But it is awkward, definitely, to get 3 of the exact same mold sets in the same series. Okay, here's something different. This is good. It's a Marine with the removable helmet, and he also has the little heads-up display drop-down single eye thing, so all this can come off like so. The production on that head is pretty good, and it's nice to have the ability to remove some of these helmets and still, you know, have a person underneath. We need to get some hair pieces for these dudes, though. They can't all be bald. I mean, well, they can all be bald. It is military, but they shouldn't. We should have the option eventually. I'm sure they'll do that. Looks like this one leg armor piece isn't pushed down all the way, but I like this. My favorite of Mega's colors used for the armor add-on pieces. We didn't get a really great mix out of this one with the dark red kind of rust color that should be marbled in there. You see just little hints of it here and there. But all in all, this is great. Great to get. It's a common one in this series and pretty massable. That is the most modern version of Mega's assault rifle mold also, where you can attach things to the end of the barrel and also add sights to it. But no extra pieces were included with this one for customization. A grunt miner, cool, massable, kind of classic styled, and has the slate, I guess you can call it slate blue colored skin. I mean, this works. I could go for a wash on him to make him just look a little less like he's made out of clay. But all in all, this is a good one to include in the series. And again, you can never have too many grunts, so a super massable character to be sure. It's just in some cases it can be difficult to get a number of different grunts that are compatible that go together in the same scene, but have different variations between their ranks and such, with the same color scheme. So it's one of those cases where if you want them, be sure to get a bunch of them now, and then maybe later on you can swap out just some small pieces if you want to have a little bit of variation. And then speaking of massability, hey, Elite Miner, yes sir, absolutely, this works. Blue armor, not too bright, but not super dark. It's not metallic either, so it's a little bit generic. The skin tone on this is not too bad. It's again slate blue. I would like to see it a little bit darker, just a little bit darker, but it's not bad. It's a nice callback to the old convention one that they did that was instead of the slate blue, they had like a bright teal color as its accent color. Special thing here is the inclusion of the gold paint applications to the insides of the wrists. They make them a little more fancy, but good figure to mass. I'm glad that the skin tone isn't too light. I wish it was a little bit darker or a little bit matte. Maybe it's just the shine that's throwing me off here, but this is definitely in the right region, and he's got the soft version of a plasma rifle there, so you don't break off these little bits too easily, and I like the color on that. That is partially metallic. Oh yeah, also a common figure. The other rare in this figure series is not a figure at all. It's a pack of 5 of these disgusting flood infection forms. And I say disgusting not because of what they are, what they do, how they look, but rather because of how these in particular feel. You can kind of just see how bouncy that is, like the material they're made out of. Oh, yuck. Especially the I guess you call them legs down there. The way that they move, man. Ugh, Narste. It's kind of messed up. No, it's good though for something so alien. And the mold is great. I mean, the shaping along the back especially is really, really good. You do insert the tentacles, I guess, are they called? Is that what they are? Not antennae. The sucker things. You insert those separately. It's a separate piece. It's not dual molded. But yeah, you get 5 of those, and it's rare, but it's really easy to pick these out if you want to get a couple. And then look, you got a whole 10 of them for just buying the equivalent of 2 figures. Again, super, super massable and pretty well done. They don't even really need a wash. Like, there's enough depth in that mold that it works just as it is. I do wish that the red parts were a little bit darker though. And finally, the ultra rare of this series, aka the Scalper Bait, is another not a figure. It's the Covenant Cruiser, and the build for this is really, really nice. Like, this looks nice on display as a nanoscaled ship. I don't think that they're at all going for a common scale between these different small builds, but this one, I don't know, certainly stands on its own just fine, and I'm happy with this size overall. Displays well, I think, next to figures. So if I bring one of these back, probably not the best choice, huh? How about that? Hey, get him to stand. One moment, please. There we go. Yeah, I think it's appropriate, the size that they went with, and lets us get enough detail. It's immediately recognizable. I like it. I like it a lot. I think I like it better than in the last 1 or 2, the UNSC ones. Like, just the smoothness, and again, the build doesn't look that great from underneath, but for its scale, like, I can't complain. Really can't complain. So very happy with this, to be sure. The Master Chief versus Arbiter double pack. Oh, this is good. Now there are like 2 things that aren't great about it, and more things than expected that are really good about it. Okay, first up, the Arbiter, and yes, the bases are included with these. A pretty glorious looking figure with a nicely detailed energy sword there. Good paint applications on it, including the gold colored hilt. And yes, the gold does go all the way through where the hand is holding it. Production work on this in general is pretty good. The helmet, which is a different material than some of the other pieces, is not quite as bright in silver, though. I don't know if that's just this one that I got or if that's a common thing. You kind of have to nitpick to notice that, but once you notice it, it's pretty noticeable. However, I have a couple questions about this. One, why did they make that silver, whether you're looking at the head or the rest, so bright? So bright and metallic? Because when my eyes see that, the signal goes to my brain, and my brain says, oh, Halo Wars Arbiter. It's more of me. But it's definitely supposed to be Thel Vadam or Vadam. Yeah, I just can't get past that. Maybe it's just personal bias. Maybe in universe, under certain lighting conditions, his armor actually looked this bright. But I would prefer something a little bit darker, a little bit more dim. But beyond that, I mean, silver, of course, this is a Halo 2 figure, so silver is absolutely correct for him. I just think it's a little bit too bright. The other thing is that the art for this set shows him having gold filigree details, like some of the ones that they've done before. Some of the Arbiters that they've done before, at least a couple, have had the nice fine gold detailing, and this one actually does not. So, yeah, still looks good. Now, Chief, on the other hand, well, he is pretty close to perfect right out of the box. And look at him go with the dual wielding of the SMGs, one of the greatest things of the Halo games ever. And they've done it here with paint applications to those SMGs. And you can see the silver paint from both sides. It's not perfect. The coverage isn't perfect, but it is sprayed all the way around. And I love it. I love the fact that they actually included two. And the green color for this Chief is good. It's definitely a good hue. Got the Mark 6 armor there, and the dry brushing is on point. For a mass-produced figure, this is well done. The training is good. Whoever applied that, because that is done by hand, did a perfect job. There's not too much of it. There's not too little of it. Maybe, I mean, there maybe could have been a little bit less, but it's, again, for a mass-produced figure, I could not ask for better than this. They even added on the little bits, the tiny little bit. Let me get my pointer over here. Sorry, it was a little bit buried, but the little bits of silver on the sides there and there. It's not perfect on this side, but it's not bad. The other side is better. That's some pretty fine detail to get in there. And the visor on this one looks pretty good. The color is just right. The hue is just right. Oftentimes they go too far into the gold, but this has that nice orange. Like, this is just so dang good. Very, very happy with this. Very displayable, very collectible, just all by itself. And then Mega had to go and spread icing all over the cake. All over the cake with 3 extra paint-applied weapons. That is just greatness. It's some kind of fan service, you know? And you get 2 grenades for each faction. Yeah, this is great. I love me some painted weapons, always have. They're very special to me. The BR being the least well done of the 3, I'd say, just because there's a little bit of lack of sharpness around the base of the upper silver application there. But just, I mean, these are extras and they're great. All right, so that's it for those, and there is a bunch of Halo Infinite stuff from Mega Construx that I have purchased, and I've actually built a fair amount of stuff, including figures. We've got 2 series of Halo figures to show you, as well as some proper good builds, so stay tuned for more of that. I do have to be careful not to put out too much Mega Construx stuff at a time, because the Lego fans who watch me get mad about it. And you don't want to see a mad Lego fan, even though I've been doing Mega stuff for 6 years now, 6.5 years, something like that. Anyway, more to come. Thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you again soon.